Hello, everyone. This is Raise Your Voice as part of the Fans First Sports Network. I am your host, Brett Rutherford, joined as always by my good friend and co host, Darby Robinson. We are live on youtube.com/, at Raise Your Voice, and also available wherever you get your podcasts. Uh, Patreon.com/raise your voice if you want to say, if you love what we do here and you want to say thank you. Darby, we recorded this great episode last week talking about some prospects that we would love to see get some run. And apparently, the Rays front office must have been listening live, because before the podcast version actually even was published, they made the decision to call up top prospect Carson Williams, and we were talking about it. We said this is the perfect time to see Carson. The season is
Mhm.
basically over in terms of getting to the postseason. So why not give him a cup of coffee right now with both Kim and Walls hurt? I said it when Walls got hurt, and when Kim got hurt, it seemed kind of like a no brainer if he needed to go
Yeah.
to the IL, and it was a built-in excuse to make it a short stay for Carson Williams. But it's been good to see him. Like it's good to see him get this shot. Him and Bob Seymour in the lineup together is a ton of fun, because I've watched them in Durham all season. I'm wearing my Bulls hat tonight for both of them. And yeah, it just makes a lot of sense that they're up right now and with the Rays.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you listen, we know the Eric's a big Neander has been, he's a follower of the show, and he was like, you know what? They made some compelling points. It's time to, he wasn't sure, but then, it, no, it made a lot of sense once Kim went down, and once I know that they were probably not eager to have Carson called up this early. He is just 22, right? Like
Yeah.
being 22 and this young, first year, like first full season at the AAA level, there's a lot of development. And if you look at the stats, like there is some growing pains that he's going to have to go through. So that's just the facts. But I will say this, like with those guys down, this is kind of the perfect opportunity with the season kind of, if not over, but like very low. We're under a 1% playoff probability, right? So that's pretty much like you're not doing things to like say like we're still like in the hunt. It's sort of like, well, if you go on a crazy run, if you go on a tear, if you go on a 2024 Tigers-esque run, who knows? Maybe you need some car crashes ahead of you.
Yeah.
But this is an often awesome time to try to get Carson Williams that, you know, taste of the show. It sets him up not necessarily to be the starting shortstop next year to out of opening day, but potentially that first call up, with any kind of injury or early in the season. You kind of almost are setting him up like Junior Caminero last year. Junior was a little bit more advanced, but you give him that little runway at the end of the season, give that taste, or Jonathan Aranda for that matter. He got a nice little run of about 30 games at the end of the season, showed some good stuff, came into the spring, took the job, and has been an excellent season this year. So it's just exciting to see a it's exciting to see a like top prospect come up anytime you get a top prospect coming up. It's exciting. Early in the season, when Chandler Simpson came up, a top 10 organizational guy,
Yeah.
it was exciting, and he
with
provided
with a
that
clear
spark.
tool that, like, anytime you get somebody with like an 80 grade tool in anything, uh it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's a ton of fun, and there's that clear path, right? Like this is a person who at some point you expect this person to contribute. Anytime you have an organizational top 10 guy, you expect them to come up at some point. A lot of those top 10 guys don't contribute. So you just got to give them a shot. You take a shot. And I think Chandler provided a nice spark at the beginning of the season. This is a nice spark at the end. I
Yeah.
think it's something to watch for. It's something, it definitely makes you want to tune in. And there's been a couple of things for that right now, but it's nice to just see, somebody like Chandler Simpson out there, Junior Caminero out there, and now Carson Williams is kind of right in there. that's the guy that's your future potentially at shortstop. It's your future left side of the infield. It's nice to kind of see it and dream on it, even if it's
Right.
not like obviously far from a finished product yet. It's just nice to have a little bit of a spark right there.
Yeah, and if you're those of you watching on YouTube, just had the new Baseball Savant Vizcast up, kind of tracking the game, but it looks like the skies have opened up in Cleveland, and
Started
they are
raining.
going in a rain delay. I mean, I think they should just call it Yanni Diaz homer, just homer to make it 5-0. Caminero hit a home run. We'll talk about his chase to 40 a little bit later on in the show. But back to Carson Williams. I think it's important for fans to recognize that this is a short term runway for Carson.
Hmm.
This is something that might end in a few days when Walls and Kim are back and healthy. And I think it's very important. We've seen the Rays do this with other prospects. They did it with Junior Caminero a couple years ago when he skipped AAA altogether to make his major league debut, and it was a short run for him. And so I think it's just something where you're going to need Carson to come up and play next year, and so you don't want those games when it's either at the start of the season or somewhere in the middle point of the season where you need him to play shortstop every day for you while you're still playing competitive games. You don't want those to be his first at bat in the big leagues, and I think that's really
Totally.
important. Um, Last week we talked about Carson, and even though he slid down the prospect rankings, I think what you and I expected out of Carson as a player, as a prospect, our opinions didn't change a whole lot about him, even with his early season struggles. We knew he was going to be a chase guy, right? We knew that he was going to
Hmm.
whiff a lot. And so when I saw him struggle, the only thing that changed about my opinion on Carson was okay, he's going to need more time. He is not, anywhere close to like a finished product that can come up and you can expect to contribute at a high level, like as a rookie. The bat is going to take some time to cook, and I think that's still true. But we saw what it can look like in Durham in the summer months when he just absolutely tore it up. He comes up, he gets a home run in his
Hmm.
first major league game. His parents are there. The broadcast got this incredible shot of Carson was rounding the bases. His parents are hugging, and the fireworks are going off in the background. It looked, I don't know, it looked like a Norman Rockwell painting for Carson Williams' first big league home run, and that was great. I think it's a little bit easy to get like hooked on a player when they homer in their first big league game. Like you said, it allows you to kind of dream on things. What could Carson Williams look like? As a potential all-star shortstop. And it's also, you look at the last two like big raised prospects that were top prospects in the organization and top prospects in baseball at the shortstop position who homered in their first big league games, going back to Willie Adames, did it against Boston off of Chris Sale. Wander Franco hit a home run against Eduardo Rodriguez in his first game at the Trop. And so it just felt like, okay, here's our next big shortstop prospect, and it's really easy to get excited, and you should be excited. But also, I think it's going to be just important to manage your expectations with Carson. Um, let him kind of grow into his role on this team, and I think you've got enough other shortstop depth, on this team to be okay with that.
Yeah, I think the prevailing wisdom, or what we, or at least our expectations, it, for Carson Williams is that we both think he's going to be a good major league player.
Yeah,
The,
everyday
the
player.
the thing though is like what we're picturing is I think maybe sometimes a little bit different than what a lot of other people are picturing. And I think that's important to set those expectations for yourself so that you aren't disappointed. If he is a 700 OPS bat with gold glove, maybe even platinum glove level defense, and he's a 20 double, 20 homer, 20 steal guy, but he's not Wander Franco. He's not 800, 900 OPS. He's not a middle of the order hitter. He's not like, he's not a guy he's going to strike out at like over 30% of the time. He might get 3 strikeouts a game.
Yeah.
If that's going to disappoint you, then I think you're going to be prepare for that. But if
He's also
you get a guy that goes 1 for 4 with 3 Ks and a double or a homer and plays Gold Glove defense,
yeah.
that's called an all-star. That's all you need. You know, the gone are the days where the all-stars are guys that are hitting 300, 330. Like he might hit 200. He might get on base a nice little fair chunk, and he'll pop some over the wall. But you're looking at a guy that could be like a huge improvement at shortstop, but in a way that isn't maybe
Yeah.
the Lisan Al Gaib of shortstops here.
No, he's
You
not a
know,
franchise saving prospect in the way that like a Franco was like
yeah.
your torchbearer. And in a way that Junior can be, but even Junior, like there's questions about the defense and is it just going to be power and is he going to run OBPs under 300 every year? Like
you look at something similar to that is like actually some of the discourse around Julio Rodriguez in Seattle. Actually, it's kind of interesting because he'll like be pretty cold the first 2 months of every single season, and everyone is sort of like the expectations I think were set really high with Julio as like this guy is going to be Ken Griffey Jr. Right? You know, like this guy is going to be this golden god out there, and people are like. There's I mean I think I've seen a lot of chatter of like people kind of being disappointed and frustrated with Julio Rodriguez not like improving, right? But like you then if you take a step back and you like, kind of look at like the player, you don't look at like my expectations of the player and then what they are, but like let's just look at what this player is. He's a perennial all-star for a good reason, right? Like this year some people complain because he had a 690 OPS going into the All-Star game. He's now over that. He's at 770, which is great. I mean, like with that level of defense, 770 is great. He has a 4 WAR season, but like he just wasn't this guy that's like hitting that level that they are expecting. Like 40-40 guy, 150 plus WRC plus. Gold Glove defense. So like when you're like 120, 116, this year he's at 119 WRC plus. So only 19% above average at the plate, plus Gold Glove caliber center field defense, plus 25 home runs, 23 stolen bases. That's the disappointment. But you're like, well, that's a franchise guy. It may not be prime Barry Bonds or prime Ken Griffey Jr., right? It's not Pittsburgh Pirates Bonds. It's not that like this is the player with this one person they can drag you on. Like Aaron Judge, for instance. And in Seattle, it turned out that was Cal Raleigh instead. Who knew?
Well,
but like
you look at Raleigh and you realize that like even if you were the world's biggest Cal Raleigh fan coming into this season, you would have never predicted this.
No.
The season that he's had. And so what I think it's important to remember is that we're all constantly wrong about a lot of players and about their development is not linear. There will every season there will be guys that have just insane seasons out of nowhere and that overperform all of their projections. The guys that are going to have terrible, disappointing seasons that no one saw coming. Like Corbin Carroll last year. And
Michael
some of
Harris,
it's injury. A lot of times,
the second this year until the second half, and now the second half he's doing great because he's like, oh yeah, he's a good player. He just
a lot of times it's like injury. It's like almost always like an injury that either they're playing through or they're recovering from or something you don't know about.
We talked about Kyle Tucker, right? Like he was awful for like 2 months, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a broken hand.
Yeah, why does he suck?
It's like, oh, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it.
And there might be some guys in the Rays that are battling through stuff, and that's why they suck.
That human element of like, I just don't want to go on the injured list again, right? So everyone's been frustrated with like Hassan Kim, being fragile, getting injured for the first time in his career. Really, I mean, like he had a serious shoulder injury, but then this year's the only time he's ever missed. Like he's had a bunch of like random dings. Maybe he could have played through them, but then also like he would maybe just be a really bad half injured player.
And you also wonder, and we're getting a little off track, but I like where this discussion's going. You wonder if it's different for guys that have guaranteed money and guys that don't.
Mm,
For from both the team side and the player side. Like Kim's got, a player option next year that he has the protection to be able to pick that up. He
right.
also is closer to being a free agent again than maybe some other younger players on the Rays that are not even in ARB or who are entering arbitration. To say, you know what, I can't afford to go out there and have like bad at bats right now. Like
Mm,
I've got I've got, a little bit more of a resume. Like I look at a guy like Josh Lowe, who's dealt with
mm,
oblique injuries and other things. He still needs to kind of like earn his paycheck, right? He's in arbitration, like he's still a few years away from becoming a free agent. And so, Josh Lowe might feel like he needs to play through more injuries than he
yeah.
has and come back quickly and get his at bats in. So, um, just going back to kind of the prospects and kind of closing out our thoughts on Carson. Um, I think this is good. I think it's good for him. I don't know whether or not he'll be your opening day shortstop. I think a lot of that is dependent on Hassan Kim, and then you have an option to decide on Taylor Walls. And I'm willing, I think Walls and Kim are both going to be back. I think
Yeah,
you really,
I agree.
you might move on from a Brandon Lau, but even if you don't, you want the shortstop depth. And Carson is still going to have to figure out some things in Durham, and he's young. And so you get him in here now, he's 22. So there's a lot of time before he gets into those, quote unquote prime years, where like, I don't know, 26 to 29 is what a lot of people think are like the prime years for a hitter. And the data backs that up. Williams has time before he's there. So there's no need to rush him, but you do want to get him acclimated because, he'll be in the next calendar year. I think he's your starting shortstop. So it's important to get him this run now.
And we'll see like when, like there's a lot of guys that are in Durham now or that said they were on minimum stays. So in the next week, a lot of things could change. A lot of things could change. September also opens up rosters a little bit more. Uh, I think Carson has a little runway here where he could do enough to keep up in the majors, but the biggest key is his development, right? He's 22, so he needs to start every day. He
Yeah,
needs to develop, and if Kim and Walls are back healthy, they're not going down to Durham, and you also need to get them into action. I think Walls is somebody you could absolutely be fine with being a part-time player, and then the Rays have shown that. It's just if everybody gets back healthy at the same time, and even like Richie Palacios, another one, then you suddenly get this little weird like glut. And I would say, yeah, again, setting those expectations, like you said, if Williams goes down in a week, this is still valuable. Like this is not, and this is not them saying like we don't trust you. It's more like just saying like here's the things that you got this taste, you saw it, you got the experience, you'll be back. This is what we still want you to work on in the last couple weeks of the season.
right. Um, let's talk about Ian Seymour, who got the start today
Yeah.
and was lights out. I mean, 5 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, and kind of showcased that potential to being a starter in the big league rotation. And I think we mentioned his name. The rotation as is still a little crowded going into next year, but they decided to send Joe Boyle down. I think that was the right decision. Um, I was very disappointed in what we saw out of Boyle, and it was very, you then remember that, okay, the success he's having in AAA, it's more, it has, it's more than just the Rays fixed him. It's also, it's in AAA,
Mhm.
and it's a lot easier to live on your stuff in AAA. And big league hitters just have much better plate discipline. So it's tougher for a guy that struggles to find the strike zone uh, to have that continued success in the majors. So I'm more skeptical about Boyle being a starter for this team moving forward. But now, it's 5 innings. Don't get overexcited. But Ian Seymour looks like a guy that can contribute in a bulk role for this team, and just I think provides like has some really good back end starter upside here.
It, absolutely. So here's the thing with Ian Seymour that provides that I was really excited about coming into today, and he did an amazing job. I mean, this is the Cleveland Guardians, so be like take that with that does you have to take that through the framework because they are kind of bad offensively, right? They are like kind of like the Rays. There's a lot of players that just don't provide much, but they also have uh, Jose Ramirez, who is like one of the best hitters in all of the sport, and he K'd him on some pretty filthy stuff in the
Yeah.
first inning and kind of kept him off balance. So it's a mix, right? There's some guys like Stephen Kwan is also an excellent hitter. Ian Seymour provides a lot of things that this Rays pitching staff hasn't shown this year, and it's a staff with unbelievable stuff. Their stuff plus numbers are great. The velo and the movement and the like all of the things that like are exciting in a vacuum of each pitch, like that is an unbelievably filthy individual pitch. And that will absolutely pop on Pitching Ninja. Like you're gonna see a highlight. But then you're not going to be able to command it enough to get enough consistent swings because you're kind of all over the zone. And that's what we saw with Joe Boyle, right? Nothing about Joe Boyle's arsenal and Mason Montgomery all year. The stuff is unbelievable, truly elite. But to be an amazing pitcher, like if you're Paul Skeens, the reason he is going to win the Cy Young is he has the stuff, but then his command is also like sparkling. It's almost flawless. And you put those together and it's like you're on a Hall of Fame trajectory, right? Like that's what made like Jacob deGrom in his prime. The stuff was the best in all of baseball, but he also could dot it. Like it was if Greg Maddux had a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and a wipeout slider instead of having to basically, manage and just use his unbelievable command. The Rays have had all stuff. I mean, it's all stuff, very poor command. If you look down the list of like of Location Plus, which is a command-based thing, you have in the starting lineup, there's Zach Littell, right? Poor stuff, but good command. Was maybe the most reliable starter for the Rays.
Over like a 2-year period.
Drew Rasmussen, the all-star and definitely the best pitcher. He has 112 stuff plus, 102 location plus. That's great. That's a all-star level pitcher. After that, there's nobody else really all that high. Like Pepio, really good stuff. Command is the big issue. Taj Bradley, some of the worst command numbers in all of baseball. Joe Boyle, the worst actually command in pitching plus number in all of baseball. Mason Montgomery is right down there, not a starter anymore. Ian Seymour, the stuff is interesting. It's got some really good movement. It's got some really cool stuff. It moves. It has a good variety of things. He's not like just Ryan Yarbrough level. He has a little bit more velo. He has a bit more filth to that repertoire, but the command is really good. And he's able to, and that was what really worked today. He got 8 Ks. Joe Boyle hasn't gotten 8 Ks in like a while in his last like 3 starts. And that was because you don't need to swing. If your guy can't throw strikes, you don't get to strike 3 if you can't get to strike 2. And yeah, so like Seymour was able to work good counts. He was able to get guys off balance. I mean, that's the thing. If you get to 2 strikes first, and that's been kind of the Rays philosophy that kind of abandoned them this year, was get to 2 strikes. It's a race to 2 strikes. Once you get to 2 strikes, you are now in command, and that batter is struggling. They can chase a pitch. They can expand the zone. They can try to overthink it and then take strike 3. Like if you can't get to strike 2, then the batter is totally on edge. And so Hunter Veducia behind the plate, getting some really good framings with Ian Seymour, the first left-handed starting pitcher for the Rays this year. It was a nice matchup, and I really liked what I saw from him. A lot of funky movement. He has a very weird delivery. He's got a kind of a jerky delivery. He's a good change of pace. And it's also, I feel like, something that I want to see more of this year is that change of pace, not just a lefty starter.
See more what?
There you go. I want to see more. But like a lefty starter. So if you're like lining up the Rays in a series, you know what you're going to get on every one of those guys. They're the same pitcher, like again and again, but like maybe with worse results. Like still great stuff, bad command, right-handed pitcher. Seymour suddenly is like, okay, now there's all this funk and weird arm angle and movement, pitching backwards. I think that's like that was a fun addition like to this rotation. And I want to see him actually get some run here. Like I think he did a really good job in the pen. He actually pitched pretty well there.
And covered a lot of important innings for the Rays to not like blow out the pen. And
He saved a Joe Boyle game.
yeah,
Like he kept them
yeah.
in that, which that was a complete loss. I really like what I've seen from Ian Seymour. I don't know, like, do you think he's? Do you see him in the rotation next year, or do you see him in the pen, or like what do you expect personally from Ian Seymour?
I expect the Rays to go into next year a little less like locked in with their rotation and to go back to being a little bit more fluid.
Mm.
And so I expect Ian Seymour to get starts. I don't know if I expect him to like be locked in to open the season in the rotation.
I can see that.
So yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of offseason left. Pitching, I think, is like I feel like the starting rotation. I'm the least sure out of any other like group about what it's going to look like next year in terms of who's going to be there. Like I think I have a pretty solid feel about what the lineup will look like next year. I have a pretty solid feel about what the bullpen will look like. There's always going to be additions and changes.
Mm-hmm.
The rotation, I think they could blow it up. I think they could run it back. There's something in the middle. There's a wider range of outcomes here.
If you had to bet right now, if I was giving you action, if Emmanuel Clase said, "I know a guy," and this is going to be some weird action, it's how many of this starting rotation of the 5 spots next year, how many right now do you think are like on this roster right now? Like next year, that started this year, will get starts next year for the Rays.
Yeah, at first I thought you were pitching me on Emmanuel Clase to the Rays, which I don't know, fine, sure. So you're saying out of the current starting rotation,
people that got to start for the Rays right now this season.
Oh, okay,
right, Drew Rasmussen, and it's not that many. It's not that many because they kept pretty healthy. But guys that started for the Rays this year, how many of those are getting starts next year for the Rays?
Do you have an over/under, or are you just asking me to like?
I'd say what? How many would you say you're confident in? Like, set that number. Not that like you'd pick the ones, but like, do you think 3?
Like, am I confident that 3 of the guys that made starts this year
will make starts next year for the Rays? Because I'm confident about 2. I am not.
Which 2 are you confident about?
I don't know.
I'm
confident that out of this
Shane
group,
McClanahan doesn't count for this exercise because he hasn't started for the Rays.
He has not started yet. So Shane McClanahan did not start this year, so he does not count. So the guys that are here, and for people like listening in the chat, you can play along. So it's Ian Seymour, it's Joe Boyle, it's Shane Baz, it's Adrian Hauser, technically,
Ryan Pepio,
but free agent, Ryan Pepio, and it's Drew Rasmussen.
Okay,
Josh Bradley's already gone. Zach Littell's already gone.
I'm going to name, I think there's only 2 that I'm locked in on. And I think maybe we have the same. Drew Rasmussen and Ian Seymour.
Oh, interesting. I don't see Ian Seymour being traded.
Right, exactly. So
and Drew Rasmussen, I do think is the best there. I'm not 100% sure that
trade Shane Baz, and I would be kind of like even willing to say that like a Baz trade is likely.
Joe Boyle could be back, but in the pen, he may not be a starter or traded again. Ryan Pepio, I think it's better odds that he is starting next year with the Rays for sure. But like, I would not be shocked if he is traded. I'm actually not even 100% shocked that Drew Rasmussen was traded. Like there's absolutely.
I think Rasmussen is safer because of the extension.
Agreed. But like, it's not 100%. Like normally coming into this year, we were 100% on like 4 of the guys.
Yeah.
And Shane didn't end up.
And Bradley was one.
Bradley, Baz, Pepio, Rasmussen, and Shane. I actually think we had all 5 were locked in, and Zach Littell.
we
We
would
had
have thought
6.
you could have asked us the same question in February, and I think we would have been more confident in guys that were going to be starting in 2026 than we are today.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
obviously you trade Bradley and Littell, but then like McClanahan's hurt. We still don't know what's up with him. Like even he's not locked into. Like we don't know.
No.
We can be
Yeah,
optimistic.
nerve stuff like he may never throw another pitch again,
And then I think
right? Like
every
or he
other.
could be
I think
back opening day.
so. I think
Like that's the range of outcomes.
the least likely to be traded, the least likely to be traded out of guys that have made starts this year would be Ian Seymour. I don't see a world in which the Rays trade him.
Unless the Rays just do have a weird like hatred of left-handed pitchers, or like not
Which I don't
hatred, but
believe.
like their valuation is lower, like because they did trade Jeffrey Springs and they did trade
Jacob
Jacob
Lopez.
Lopez, um, and they didn't have any lefties coming into this season. Like there, that could be if you believe in that conspiracy theory that they don't like
Yeah.
believe in left-handed starting pitchers. Maybe, but like yeah, I don't see the valuation with like if you're looking at it, we're going to trade a starter. Shane Baz gets you more. Drew Rasmussen gets you a lot more. Ryan Pepio gets you a lot more than Ian Seymour. So you keep Ian Seymour because his value kind of gets you. Same reason why you kept Zach Littell for so long was that's not a person that you Jeffrey Springs got you more than like Zach Littell would have last offseason. But then at a certain point, like in mid-season, that's when you maybe decide to trade like an Ian Seymour because it's like, yeah, people just want a guy that could pitch right now.
Yeah.
But in the offseason, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. You're like, I want to look at the stuff plus number. Like, we'll fix the command. What's that slider looking like?
Right. It's I'm curious to see where this goes and if it sounds like we're just like just loving on Ian Seymour, it's true because he did a great start tonight. But like I'm saying that there's a chance like okay, he's back. Like I think he's back next year, but it's not guaranteed that he's a starter, but that he will make starts.
Yeah, I think he's a kind of a good candidate because he was in the pen this year. Because he seemed like he has a good attitude when it comes to like the bouncing around. He even talked about like how he really appreciated being in the pen and like the experience that helped him like try out pitches and like see how those worked in the majors. I think the thing for him is that like he's a perfect Rays type of swingman. He may not be your best
Yeah.
starter.
And
He
am I
may not
crazy
start
to
a
think?
postseason game, but he can do a lot of things. And
Yeah, am
and
I
they
crazy
they
to think that
used Ryan Yarbrough to a huge extent because of that.
that the Rays are gonna go back to more of the style of pitching we saw a few years ago, where there's more openers and different
Yeah,
starters coming in and different guys throwing bulk next year because they've stayed. And I need to say this, and maybe they figured something out here, but they've stayed a lot healthier the last two seasons
hmm
with their pitchers, and maybe they figured out like, okay, this is the right way to manage their workload, and what we had been doing before isn't great for pitcher health. Maybe they had a mea culpa of
maybe,
sorts,
maybe.
but they've also been less effective. They've been not as good
Yeah,
the last two
yeah.
seasons, and you've been running like traditional 5-man rotation, like very traditional bullpen roles. Nobody's doing anything wacky, and they've been less good. The bullpen was
I've
really good
missed
last
it
year. Don't get me
personally.
wrong,
I've
but
missed it personally, not just because from the results, but it's just like, I like the fun. I like the funky.
yeah, like could you piggyback Seymour and Boyle? We did get a little bit of piggybacking when they were managing Rasmussen's innings, and it
Yeah,
worked like really well. Like
yeah.
he's like, oh, this is good. So I don't know. Maybe they find a happy medium next year where like they're finding ways to utilize Ian Seymour that's not taking the ball every fifth day and needing 6 innings of him.
Right.
And maybe that's the
And
way to make him the most effective.
and he does seem like a pitcher that probably would do worse. I mean, we'll see in the majors, but like it does seem like somebody who could do worse third time through the order, right? Like when you start to like
Right.
see the shapes and you see the break and you're like, all
He's
right, I
also
can
going to
time
do
this up. I
worse
just
just by pitching in the mate. Like it was very clear that the Guardians there was no book on Ian Seymour
right.
coming into tonight. Like that plays into a rookie starter having a really good outing. Not to take anything away from the performance, but
Sure.
Jose Ramirez is like,
Oh,
who the hell is Ian Seymour? I don't know.
yeah.
Jose Ramirez probably studies every other pitcher and knows every pitch that's going to be thrown. He had no idea tonight with Ian Seymour. So like plays, Dave.
And that's where the benefit of having that mix up is kind of nice, because like if you're like, I've studied for Ryan Pepio, and it's like, all right, here's Shane Boz, and it's like, all right, here's a worse Ryan Pepio. Like that's just what it is. Like he throws slightly different stuff, but like, you know, Pepio's got his changeup. That's something that Boz doesn't have. But like you're just looking at a guy that's like, this is that, but a little bit worse. Ian Seymour is a completely wild card flavor, and yeah, it'll be good for right now. But yeah, the more you get exposed, these batters are very smart. Like the level of information in the game right now, won't say analytics because that'll get some old guys like really frustrated and angry, but like let's just call it information that helps them with their hard swings and good contact as they elevate balls for dingers. I don't know. Is that helping? Did I
in English on their fastball? Like, oh man.
Yep. A lot of English on that fastball. We won't say rotation rate.
No spin rate.
We won't say extension. We'll just say he's a big old tall boy, and he's got a lot of just whips it in there.
Yeah. Don't.
I think the Rays. So right now, we're looking at like this team. We're seeing some good. They put some good tape on there the last couple games. The biggest key for this team is just like starting to like the end of this season, just ending strong with like playing good baseball, like complete baseball, like having games where it's like the starter does their job, the offense does enough, you don't do bad defensive plays, and the bullpen, you know, pitches pretty well. Like you just kind of do that a couple of games, and not necessarily to get back in this season, but just to show like you're not like cursed. Like I feel like mentally, you know, you just kind of want to finish the season strong. And this is kind of the time of year where the teams that are, you know, under 500, like the Rays are, they can be very dangerous to a lot of teams because they're trying to play hard for the fact that they've had a weird season, right? Like their Pythag, their third order win percentage, these things that like showcase like what they maybe had deserved results. They're well below all of those, right? They're like 5, 6, 7 games under that. Like they should be 5 or 6, 7 wins more. That didn't happen. And that happens some years, right? Like that's just the way it goes. Cleveland is actually a perfect example on the opposite side. Like they've had a really weird season. They've had some better luck, but overall, like they're also not where they kind of thought they would be. Like they did not think Tanner Bybee would be just again like struggling like worse than like Ryan Pepio, where you're like, oh, the stuff is right there. Like I see a good start and then it like ends poorly. So it happens in baseball, but I just think that's really important coming down the stretch, not just for the young players, but for just everybody, for the whole team. Just like play some complete games, compete in each series, and just show that like, okay, this was a weird season. Stuff happened. If you could take back July and then like things go differently, but whatever. You can maybe go into next season going like, man, if we just had a little bit better month in July, everything could have been different.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm going to be thinking a lot about that starting pitcher question that you asked earlier in the show. Let's pivot to Junior Caminero. His 38th home run of the season tonight is well on pace to become only the second ever Ray to have a 40 home run season. The first and only was Carlos Pena in 2007 when he had a franchise record 46. And maybe like a week ago, I didn't think that Caminero had that record like in his grasp, but I think he's gonna break it. Like I don't know. I get a feeling that Caminero is the type of player that like this record is gonna motivate him. Oh, and that he's gonna want to like finish this season strong, continue to perform, and continue to try to like play competitive baseball. That's what I've noticed about the Rays, even in the games they've lost, except for like, I don't know, the Yankee series, the first game at least. Every game has felt, and it's hard when you give it back-to-back home runs in the top of the first, but every game has felt like competitive, like super. Like I don't feel like this team has a lot of quit in them. They play some bad baseball at times because maybe they're just not a great baseball team, But they don't quit, and they have a lot of still very talented players that are continuing to perform. And I think Caminero, I don't know. I just feel like he's just going to go on a tear. He's at 11 home runs in August. I think he could hit another 11 in September. Like, it just feels like that's the type of
He
player he is.
you mentioned like he seems the type of guy to be motivated by this. He's absolutely the guy to be
Yeah.
motivated by this. Like you saw him finish second in the home run derby
To like
to Cal
to like
Raleigh.
to a guy who's having maybe one of the best seasons like ever in baseball
Yeah, and
history.
like and he finished just close. Like he was so close. He
Yeah,
was so
and
close.
he was devastated.
He was devastated. Yeah, a lot of times, like these are it's competitive. Baseball players are all competitive, right? But like the home run derby, you can see it where it's like you're trying, but then overall, you're like this is mostly just
Nobody
like
wants to get hurt. And
yeah. Caminero just like if somebody talked to him right then and there, be like, "Will you come back next year?" He would have been like, "Absolutely." He's like, "I'm ready. I'm going to be ready for next year." He's somebody who's like already talked about he'll just be like the ball boy for Dominican Republic in
water
the World
boy,
Baseball
not even
Classic.
the ball boy. He's just
No,
getting
no,
the
yeah,
ball.
he's not even on the field. He's just the water boy. He's just the. That's right. He, which I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they're going
I
to
think you're
find a
gonna be on
spot a
there.
little bit more closer to the field
Don't know if
for
he's gonna be
Junior.
playing third, but they will get your bat in the lineup.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And so when it comes to Junior, he is definitely motivated. He is a guy that has. He is not somebody that's playing baseball just to get some money. He is like he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the guy. And so the single season team home run record is absolutely something that I think Junior would want to do. He
Yeah.
knows that number. He wants to do it. And I agree with you. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to get there. Like so right now, so for table setting, I know on the Rays broadcast they do it all the time. He's now with today's home run tied Logan Morrison in from 2017 at 38 home runs. Which man, I was thinking about this the other day when I saw that he was just one behind him. That I did not realize how like I remember Logan Morrison that year was like really good, but then I 38 home runs is insane. What a crazy year.
He's 21.
Yeah, Junior is 21. He's at 38. He with his next home run, he will tie Carlos Pena and Brandon Lau at 39 for number 2 all-time team. And he is now just 8 away from tying Pena, 9 from beating him.
Yeah. The
12 away. He's 12 away from 50. I think that number he's also probably looking at.
The way he's played in August, if he replicates that, if he gets one more home run in August, and then does that same thing in September again, 12 home runs back to back months, like insane. But it feels like you talk about dreaming big with young players, and you're like, oh, like we noticed, like okay, early on there were some clear issues with Junior. It's like he doesn't lift the ball enough. Like there might be some swing and miss in there. He just swings at everything. He swings really hard. And we're like, okay, in the next couple of years, he'll figure that out. And then like he's figured it out in like a couple months.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, so he made the adjustment to big league pitching sometime in the summer, and he finally clicked. And there'll be a time where he comes back next year, and more pitchers know how to pitch Junior Caminero because he's not a rookie anymore, or he's in his third year, whatever it is. And then, but you feel confident now that Junior's going to be able to just keep making adjustments, and he swings really hard, harder than almost anyone. And he's going to start pulling the ball more and attacking just bad pitches. And the sky is the limit. I mean, 50 home run season, why not? Let's go for 60 home run season with Junior Caminero because he's 21.
He's 21. He just turned 22 like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Like not too long ago. And he just hit another. Yeah.
Are they back playing?
Yep. He's back, and he is now at 39.
Oh my God.
He is now
he's
tied.
Gonna get a 40 home run season tonight. What inning are we?
He might get it tonight. Yeah. So he is now the 39th home run. And when you see the highlight for the second home run, he like golfs this thing. There's like a handful of players that can hit this one out like this. It's when we talk about like Giancarlo Stanton, where he hits home runs that are like kind of absurd. yeah, that's not a pitch that should ever go for a home run. That's one of those ones when you're a pitcher, you're like what the hell, man? Like
Yeah,
that was a slider. It could have
looking at
gotten
the
a little
highlight.
lower, but like, yeah. Um, yeah, that's just
Wow.
incredible right there. Caminero, he has some weaknesses
He
in his swing.
he must have been. Was he listening live during the rain delay?
He might have. He was ready. He was ready to go.
Did we motivate him?
He's somebody who the the bat speed being like at the very top of all of baseball. The ability to he is a free swinger, but like he also doesn't whiff a ton,
No.
which is that is so scary. His power is absurd. He has power to all fields, and he has like clear weaknesses that he's put on tape, like in his zone, like breaking away. He will swing at it and he will make contact, and it'll be a double play
Yeah.
almost always. But like, so
He's
pitchers
not
know it,
swinging
and
and
like
missing.
they're not getting to it. Like or he is able to starting to spoil it like as the season goes on. If he can learn to correct that, and it's like baseball is always a game of counter moves, right? Like you said, like there's more tape next year. Pitchers are going to be like, all right, we're going to know how to attack him a little bit more. But he is a guy. He has a bat at this age that is so good that even with weaknesses and even with pitchers figuring out new ways to attack him,
Yeah.
he is so good that he can beat you. And there's certain batters in baseball that are at that level where it's like, you know how to attack like Aaron Judge, but like if you make any mistake or if the spin is just slightly off, it's over, right? Like he will absolutely like demolish you. So Junior's special. I mean, this is so young, so good.
You talk about the names that he's, been talked in the same circles as this year because of the season he's having. For like under 20, younger than 22, having this many home runs, and they're like all Hall of Famers or guys that were like roided up. And it's like, oh, so like this is very rare company. And when you look at like his relationship at this age with Albert Pujols, Albert Pujols, one of the greatest hitters of all time, full stop,
ever.
And Caminero like idolizes him, but like Pujols has such strong admiration for Caminero, and like it just feels like a really strong like mentor relationship that other guys recognize it. And if you didn't recognize it when that clip went viral of him hitting that big home run in Dominican Winter League, if you didn't recognize it then, if you didn't recognize it at the Home Run Derby, if you didn't recognize it during this season, the second half of this season especially, you're gonna recognize it next year at the World Baseball Classic when he's playing for the DR and he hits a big home run in a big moment. He is going to become, in the same way I talked about Randy Arozarena that time, after the World Series and playing for Mexico in World Baseball Classic, he's going to be one of the faces of the game. He has that much charisma, and he's going to have that many big moments. Even if it's not with the Rays in the postseason this year, if you go back from the Winter League to the Home Run Derby to then the World Baseball Classic, he is going to have so many opportunities to be front and center globally for the game of baseball, that he is going to be, that guy. And so,
and he's a very likable guy. He's a handsome kid. He's very personable.
Brings us to this issue, right?
Yeah. I just want to list. You mentioned like he's in rarefied air. I brought up the stat, right? This is just too insane. So at age 21 season, hit 35 or more home runs. This is the list of players. He is the 7th player ever to do that. 7. The other 6, Eddie Matthews, Frank Robinson, Alex Rodriguez, Albert Pujols, Cody Bellinger, and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, I believe Frank Robinson, I actually don't know if Frank Robinson ever got an MVP. All of them were MVPs at one point. Robinson and Matthews are Hall of Famers. Alex Rodriguez would be a Hall of Famer without the late steroids and kind of, all that. Albert Pujols is a Hall of Famer. Cody Bellinger is not a Hall of Famer, but did get an MVP, like legit. And Ronald Acuna Jr., also MVP. So like that is a list of, there's not like a weird, like, I mean, Cody Bellinger's maybe the only weird name on there, but like he still had an MVP. So it's like he's still like is at a level, and he's still like a perennial like all-star adjacent level guy. Uh Unbelievable. Like
So Caminero's a guy now
yeah.
who you did not extend before he made his big league debut, which has become more of a trend. I think like
Mm-hmm.
we saw Jackson Churio get that extension. Like Evan Longoria got that extension
Mm-hmm.
years and years ago. But Caminero, you didn't do that with Caminero. And now everyone knows like what the potential is. And we've seen him do it over a full big league season. He is in his age 21 season. He's 22 now, but he's in his age 21 season. A lot of the fanfare that I just talked about. He's scheduled to hit free agency after his age 26 season, which again, like I don't know if you had to set a free agent market prediction, assuming Junior continues on this path, that's like I don't know, $500 million deal at least, like
At least.
at age 27, where you're
Oh, you
talking
could.
about a power hitter's profile, another 5 years of like 40 home run power. That's insane money. So if you're the Rays, and if you're Junior Caminero, does an extension make sense for the Rays? Of course, an extension makes sense
Mm-hmm.
this offseason. For Junior Caminero, you're Junior Caminero's agent who's talking about yesterday's price is not today's price out in the media, and letting Patrick Zalupski know that this is a very special player you have on your hands here. What's it going to take for the Rays to keep him long term?
An extension absolutely makes sense because here's the thing with baseball. You're an inside slider. You're one Joe Boyle missed throw away. There's a lot of Joe Boyles in
Yeah,
Major League Baseball, and you're one missed throw away from missing a year, and
yeah.
then a little bit of thing. Like you look across at like even Hassan Kim, right? You've seen it, like it happened. Ronald Acuna Jr. is actually a pretty good example. Like he's been hurt off and on for like the better part of 3 years.
Yeah, and that
Like he
extension he
had a good.
signed that people kind of panned from his agent's perspective, and the Braves kind of fleeced him. It seemed to have been smart. Like that's a guy where even if he does hit free agency, it's like you can trust him to stay healthy, and he's clearly very good. I mean, same with Byron Buxton and his extension, right?
Byron Buxton's a really good example, right? That's an MVP level guy if he could ever stay healthy, and he hasn't. Um, so an extension makes sense. Now, price wise, yeah, it's gonna
Oh,
be you're gonna
okay,
get
so
a
here,
nice deal.
what do you if I'm Junior Caminero's agent
Mm-hmm.
and I take that first phone call, maybe it's a conference call with Eric Neander and Patrick Zalupski, and they invite you down, and let's go get lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a few conversations. If you're Junior Caminero's agent, I think you walk into that meeting and say the starting point is what you gave Wander Franco.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
starting point. We don't. I'm going to go home if we're not starting there. It needs
So
to be the largest contract the Rays have ever given out.
I think that's an absolutely fine starting point. I think it's an absolutely fine starting point. I also think when it comes to this, so you're looking at like big extensions. If you're looking around the league, this is after a single big year, like a single big year. A lot of those are deals. The Churio deal is a pretty good example. That's not on the table.
Yeah,
That's
no.
too because that's the deal before you see what you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like maybe Junior can't actually play in the majors at all. Because we've seen
Yeah,
guys tear it up in the minors and then not play. You're assuming he can, but there's a lot of guys like John Singleton is a pretty good example.
right.
That was a dumb deal, stupid, moronic, just wasted all the money. There's
Scott
the mea
Kingery
culpas
was
for
also
that. Because
on a big deal, big extension too.
who is it?
And Scott Kingery, didn't he
Scott
get signed
Kingery,
to
yeah,
like a
perfect
long
example,
extension?
right? Yeah, like
And he's
what?
terrible.
How foolish! You're a top prospect. Pump the brakes. Now, after 1 year, it's still a good deal. It's still a good deal to do an extension because you don't know what the future is. He just announced him and his wife are having a baby girl, Valentina. I think he said post game. Beautiful name. So congratulations to him. You do want to secure that she is going to be locked up
For life.
forever, for life, generational money for her, for any other future kids he has, their kids, whoever, the Caminero family and the extended family are set for life. So that's going to be the thing. But yeah, Wander Franco, because that was a similar extension, right? Like that was a year in. He had proven
Yep.
that it was proof of contract. It was, yep, the hype is real. This player is great. Let's sign a deal. So I think that is a great starting point. I think with the conviction and almost certainly never returning back to the shores of the United States of America, at least for several years, I think you potentially say like, hey, this is on the books.
Yeah.
Here you go. Let's just pass it right on over to you.
We've got a guy, Caminero's agent. My guy, isn't going to go to prison. So that's a good first step. He's going to be on the field.
Yeah.
And
his wife is of a legal age. This guy, not a scumbag who's going to be. Nope. No, I think
that's good leverage to have going into this.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, you've looked around after the Trevor Bauer issue and the Wander Franco. It's like he also can he also say like does not have a DraftKings account, does not.
I hope so.
That's the other thing. It's like let's look through nothing. He still had all those initial promos, hasn't even used them. Those are the things you got to check out. Is unfortunately the modern game. No, but I think that's still something like the Rays should absolutely be. We saw the comment. Junior needs to be extended. I think if you talk to Patrick Zalupski, I think he would also say, "Hell yeah, brother."
Yeah,
and I think they will. I think they will get a deal done. Like I think that is first they need to get this deal done to like sell the team to get that over the finish line. They need to get a stadium, but I think that's priority number one in this offseason. Is
if you're gonna own a baseball team, what are you doing? If you're like you're still getting a discount on Junior Caminero because you developed
exactly.
Him. So even if you're paying more than maybe you're comfortable, you're still getting a discount.
You are going to be on the hook for like almost certainly, right? The next CBA is going to come out.
That's true.
And there might be a salary cap. But that if there is a salary cap, that comes with the floor. No matter what, you are going to probably have to pay a little bit more than you have in the Rays have paid in the past. So why not set your floor perfectly with a guy that you want leading your team? And who better than a 21, just turned 22-year-old guy who's going to be your franchise home run leader in one season. And within like a couple of seasons, like the all-time record is not very high up there. There could be a couple seasons and he might be pushing Evan Longoria's record. Like he has a huge power potential. This is I think a deal that both sides I think could absolutely come together on. It's going to be big. It's going to be worth it. There's going to be people that are going to say like, "Oh, Junior, you shouldn't, you left money on the table or, bet on yourself." But you do have to think about like you get the Wander deal. You get that $100+ million multi-year deal. You set yourself up for life and you come out of free agency. You're young enough that when you leave for free agency, you're still ready for that next big deal, the next huge deal. And you also have coming up, you also have like, who knows with the CBA too? Like this is another part of it. It's like, who knows what is going to look like in 2027? You don't know what that's going to do. Set yourself up to not have to be in this weird, like, uncertainty. And so I think there's some good risk, but unbelievable reward on both sides for a deal to come through that I think it's going to happen. And it's going to be a lot of money, but I think this is something that I think benefits both sides really well.
I agree. And I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful on the Junior Caminero front. Let's wrap up the show here. I want to see if there's any other guys, and we can move quickly through this, who you think are eligible, like who you think are extension candidates going into this
Hmm.
offseason. And I'll start with a couple, and then we can kind of bounce around here. So a couple of guys that I'm looking at are Jonathan Aranda.
Hmm.
Um, I think Aranda is a guy you can get pretty cheaply. He's an older player. He's, for where he's at in the payment structure, he's still got one more year of pre-arb and then three more arb years. So he is not projected to become a free agent until 2030, and he's already 27 years old. So that's a guy that would hit free agency older, probably past his peak offensively, and so it would be beneficial for him to get those dollars locked in. I'll start with that one. Is there one that quickly comes to mind for you?
I think Aranda could make a lot of sense, like a much smaller deal, like just a couple,
It, it
a couple years of free agency, but
yeah,
just like
I was
locking
thinking
it
one
in.
year for a free agency with an option on the back end of that.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I think it might be a little early for Carson Williams, right? Like I think you can wait on that. But you
Carson
could
would have to be
also
willing to take a major discount.
I think that could be like if you're getting like a Kevin Kiermaier site, like his first like extension, like maybe
Yeah,
that's the thing where it's like a longer term but like cheaper level. Um but I think he's somebody that like probably offensively will not do so much that will jump the arb like so high that you're like
you
desperate.
would give Williams just like a slight maybe increase on what his like projected pay numbers are through arbitration, then maybe eat up
Hmm.
one free agency year. And it's like we don't want you to press at the plate because we're gonna pay you. Like we
Or
want you to
you
just focus on getting
the
better.
the extensions also can be something that helps you like sell your books, right? To be like
Yeah,
we just want to know what our books are, and what's off. I think some other extension candidates that are kind of interesting in this are kind of some older guys. Hassan Kim, I think, is like a an extension candidate, as like kind of like what they did with Yandy Diaz, which is like the option gets picked up, but like another year, like type of thing.
mm.
I don't know what Kim will be looking for in this. Like, I think he almost certainly will take the option, but do you decide to renegotiate and maybe do a little cheaper on the option year, but then he gets another
Or incentive
year of
based.
control? Yeah, yeah.
Like we'll give you a
Um,
second year, we'll lower your base salary, but you play this many games, you get a bonus, or it kicks in, it triggers an option, something like that. I don't know.
my favorite extension candidate is Griffin Jacks, and he
Yes.
has 2 more years or 3 more years of control. But I think the thing with Griffin Jacks is it's a deal where it's basically you re-roll the Drew Rasmussen deal from last year, which is saying like, all right, we are going to take one free agent year, but we are going to rearrange the money, and we're going to add a little bit more security for you because we're going to allow you to start. We're going to allow you to try this out. And that way you don't have to worry about if like the health or success, like we're not like gonna do that. You are maybe like giving up the risk for Jax is that if he is a great starter, if he kind of converts into like that Zach Littell style role, suddenly he is potentially missing out on a year of free agency, or the arb will kind of be a little cheaper. But but you then go into free agency as a starter, which makes a lot more money than as even the best reliever possible. A middle of the road starter gets a lot more than the top closer gets on the free agent market. So you're taking this risk to give that opportunity. I think without the extension, you still could potentially see them do that. But I think the extension could make sense for both sides to do a little adjustment. You get an extra year, but now you're also potentially getting a starter
Yeah.
rather than a reliever.
Yeah, I like the Rasmussen deal idea. I think that's a good framework for Jax, although a little bit different since Jax, Rasmussen was coming back off injury and everything, but I think it's the same thought process.
Yeah.
Um, I, I don't guys that I like don't think have a shot. I think you mentioned Lau Diaz, Kim, those guys all make sense. I don't anticipate Fairbanks getting one. I really don't anticipate him being back. I don't know.
It,
Um,
it I think Pete Fairbanks is a real I've loved watching Pete Fairbanks pitch. He's really good. I think they will absolutely pick up the option. Um
I think so.
I will
Yeah,
be
yeah,
very
for
curious to
sure.
see if he makes it to next year and not traded, because I think
Yeah,
he's a pretty interesting trade piece in the
yeah.
offseason.
I actually have one more interesting one. And he has signed. He did sign a contract extension. He's still in his ARB years, and they haven't gotten into his free agency years yet. But Shane McClanahan, um,
Yeah.
with the injury uncertainty, typically like when you don't pitch, like you kind of just run it back with like a slight increase in pay and arbitration. So he's going to go into ARB 3, and he's got a fourth arbitration year as well in 2027. I could see the Rays coming to some sort of deal with him to just set his salary for those seasons again.
That could be your Drew Rasmussen deal
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
similar.
Like,
I don't even know if you give him options into the free agency years, and maybe that's something he doesn't want either because he wants the ability to prove himself and make more money as a free agent, but also have some security if
mhm.
his return from injury takes longer than expected. I don't know. It feels like there are certain players that the Rays are like in lockstep with, and like the discussions are very open about how we're going to approach certain things. The Rasmussen deal is a great example of that. I
Mhm.
think the deals with Fairbanks, Diaz, and Lau, like the Rays,
Yep.
clearly just love those guys, and those guys love the Rays, and there's a perfect relationship there. I feel like it's the same with McClanahan, and I could see a deal there working out for both sides. Got other guys that I just don't think it's in the cards for them, like Jake Mangum, no.
Mhm.
Chandler Simpson, I really don't think Chandler Simpson is an extension candidate.
I don't think so
Um,
either.
I think you've probably a lot of uncertainty and big fears about what he is like 5 years from now.
I
If the
think
hit tool drops off, if the speed drops off, how much less valuable does he become? Especially if he doesn't get any better defensively.
I think at the end of next year, I think you risk the potential that an extension, if you want to do an extension at the end of 2026, it costs more, and I think you'd
Yeah,
be happy with that. But I think you would
I
rather
think you just trade
save
him.
that risk that if he does not improve at all defensively, like the bat is actually playing pretty nicely. Like he's hitting pretty well. I
No, I
think
give him
he's
a
been a
lot of
really
credit.
nice piece on this team, but he's right now, I think, only left field really capable with that arm, with that range. And you can maybe make it get by with that, but like just barely. So he needs to be better offensively or defensively, and you kind of need him to stay really good offensively. And I think it's such an interesting profile that I don't think you need to lock that up right away.
Yeah. Uh, I, yeah, I'm in full agreement. I think it's just highly unlikely. I don't see one for Shane Baz. I don't see one for Ryan Pepio. I definitely don't see one for Josh Lowe, Christopher Morel.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think we've covered all the guys. There's no one in AAA that would get one like very early on. Taylor Walls, I don't think so either because of Carson Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna jokingly say Taylor Walls just because, like, man, the the Rays fan collective meltdown if for the
Oh my
announcement
god.
of Taylor Walls extension would be almost worth it just as a fun troll.
Because no, here's how it would go down though. It would be Mark Topkin on like a random winter day tweeting #Rays extension news incoming dot. And then like 5 minutes later would
Yeah,
tweet
no, that's true.
hearing Rays are close to extension with shortstop Taylor Walls.
Big extension, Rays extension news for an infielder that I think will make some people quite interested. Yeah, I think he would lay. I think he would layer it
Going
in.
on #WDA now to talk #Rays.
Yeah, no, there you go. I think that's exactly how it'll go down. I actually don't even think that would be like a terrible like idea to like extend him a little bit here because he's a very good
Um,
like utility guy. But like, no,
I don't
I
know.
think
You just kind of run it back with the deal you gave him. I think
yeah,
like the option for this year is like no buyout,
yeah.
which is
I
kind of
think for
weird. Like that's
Walls,
just
you're
I don't
totally
know. That to
fine.
me that just feels like nothing. We can just cut
Yeah,
you. We could do that
yeah,
anyways before the
exactly.
extension.
When I'm looking at like other pitchers or like bullpen, yeah, I just don't see nobody else that would stand out to me, because I just I'd be a little surprised if it was
Yeah.
anybody else in there. And nobody, yeah, I don't think I see anybody like leaping from like double A or anything like that. So
Right.
I think
Yeah. I mean,
I think you're looking at Caminero as your number one. I think Aranda's right in there. Like I could see that. I could see them going year to year, at first base, because those are not as valuable. But
yeah. In those smaller extensions that we discussed, those are like just like basically arbitration negotiations. Like
mhm.
I don't know, they're not really. We're talking about extensions that are going to eat up free agency years. I think you look at Caminero first, and then like Jackson Aranda would be that next tier of like, okay, what do we need to
Yeah.
do here?
And then
Um,
I wouldn't shock me, I guess, if Carson Williams did get like a small, like a more of like a, we're managing the ARB years and
yeah,
like
one
buying a
free
couple
agent year.
more.
Yeah,
Uh because like at the very least, like kind of like almost like worst case scenario with Carson Williams is that you have just like Taylor Walls 2.0, right? Like a
at the
great
very
defensive
worst.
guy that
Yeah,
has like a,
there's
the
more
bat is
power. I
like
mean, Taylor Walls, I think has power, but just can't translate it into game. Um,
more
and
contact, obviously, with
I think
Walls,
I
more
think
swing
there's
and
more
miss with.
proof of concept with Wall or with Williams' power, like he's shown it at every level of the minors. I don't know. I think the Williams ceiling is higher.
Oh, consider,
Or
I
sorry,
think
sorry,
this,
sorry. Not the ceiling, not the ceiling. The floor. The floor is much higher. the
yeah,
ceiling is the ceiling is definitely higher. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. I was like,
The
I mean, like,
floor. I
it's
think
not
the
a
floor is
controversy.
also
You're on a very sturdy limb there, Brett, going out there saying that Carson Williams' ceiling is higher
with
than
the.
Taylor Walls.
Hey, this is why people listen to Razor
We're hot
Riddles.
takes artists over here.
I've
We're
been
hot
wrong
takes
on so
artists.
many other players and so many other takes on this show that I'm like,
We're,
hey, Carson Williams higher ceiling than Taylor
you
Walls.
know what? Listen, hey, it's the meatballs down the middle count the same. Nobody's like, oh, you're just feasting on those meatballs.
I've,
Like, yeah, somebody's
I've
got
been
to feast on.
wrong. I've been wrong about like every other thing on this show. So let me be right about this one thing that Carson Williams has a higher ceiling than Taylor Walls.
I think Junior
We'll
Caminero
check
also
back
has a
in
higher
a year.
ceiling. I think that's, I would prioritize him too. But no, I think Carson,
By the way,
I could see
before
that
we
being
move
the,
on from Taylor
oh yeah.
Walls, I just have to say that I think like we treat Taylor Walls like a little brother. Like we are going to
Yeah.
make fun of him all the time.
Mhm.
But if anyone else tries to make fun of Taylor Walls,
That's a platinum
we're
glove guy. He's gonna win
yeah.
the gold glove this year. Anybody else that wins it for shortstop it's absolutely bullshit. Like straight up.
I
Like
mean, you take
I
Taylor Walls over Anthony Volpe.
how many games? How many games right now more do the are the Yankees still competing for the AL East if they have Taylor
If
Walls as their starting
Taylor
shortstop and not Anthony Volpe?
probably
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
they would
They're
hate Taylor Walls though too. They
oh, they would absolutely. No, they would. But they would love that defense.
I don't know. Like I don't think they would care. They're just
I
hoping
don't
for the
think the
next
game.
Jeter, and he's never going to come. I mean, maybe he's Anthony Volpe. Maybe Anthony Volpe just is the next Jeter.
I don't know. I think he's just a little too flashy with his bad deep. Jeter was so smart about making some
Just
flashy
not
good
getting
plays
any balls
and then just
ever.
not getting to balls. I think
Yeah.
that's the key is you don't
You-
want to get to a ball and then sail it.
Yeah, you wonder like the Jeter signature like backhand move. It's like why was he even a backhand all these routine ground ball?
It's true. It's true.
Like just get in front of it, man. Like Taylor Walls is fielding that on his left foot and making an easy throw. It's like
Kevin Kiermaier was the smart guy. You be an amazing defensive player, and then you also still do a little like, jump
yeah.
when you don't need to. You just be like, but listen, the Sports Center's not going to carry this if I just run under the ball. You got to
Oh my
like
gosh. And
run
people
and
would
jump
get
for it.
people would get pissed about it.
Yeah, there's a
People
lot
would be
of
like, oh,
arguments.
he's just being flashy. Why does he always jump? It's like, who cares? He caught the ball. Like
It's entertainment. At the end of the day, we do this to watch fun stuff happen.
I don't really
and for us to go, hell yeah, brother. Like that's what we want to do. This is what we want to do. Like at the end of the day, like watching Kevin Kiermaier is fun. And that's Carson Williams, honestly. Like that's gonna be the thing, is like great defense, some power, and you know what? If they extend Carson Williams this offseason too, my instinct is not like, That seems a little early. Like, that whiff profile. I don't know. I'll be like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
That's all it'll be. Because I'll be like, yeah,
Hits
I'd like
hits
that.
dingers,
Cool. I'll
makes
like to
great
watch
plays
him.
it short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot on this show. I think it was a kind of a good show, and I'm even though the season's not mathematically dead, I think we talked about this last week. Like it is time to start thinking about next year, and in a lot of ways, that's taken a lot of stress out of watching these games for me. And I'm enjoying
Yeah.
them a lot more. Um, I think the team is playing better. It's going to be a case of way too little, way too late, and the season's going to be a disappointment. But there, again, I think is reasons to be optimistic about the future.
Totally.
And I think we've done a good job covering that the last two episodes. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of Raise Your Voice. Thank you guys for listening. We've been live on youtube.com/at Raise Your Voice. So if you're still watching us on YouTube, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications so that you can join us every time that we go live. We're also still available wherever you get your podcasts. If you love what we do on Raise Your Voice and you want to say thank you, buy us coffee, buy us a beer, patreon.com/raise your voice. You can become a member for as little as $1 a month. We would greatly appreciate it and help us continue to grow this show. Also, Apple Podcast rating and review. That is one of the best ways to spread what we do to more and more Rays fans. And as always, head on over to draysbay.com to check out all that great Rays coverage. Once again, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you next week.